close it out on a Wednesday edition of Double Jab Podcast. And, of course, coming at you live inside TriX57.com studios at the Playground Pier, powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Good stuff from Michael Spinks. Always good to catch up with him. Rich Quinones, Rob Scott. Again, follow us, like us on Facebook, Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. We'll be giving you more information as we go. Twitter as well. You can follow the AC Boxing Hall of Fame at ACBHOF. So we'll give you all the little tidbits of what's going on. The weekend's right around the corner in May, the 26th and 27th at the Claridge. And, you know, it's what's really unique is that I think, and this is just me talking, I think you're starting to see the pendulum swing a little bit upwards with some of more events coming in Atlantic City, regardless of what's transpired with casinos closing. But from a boxing standpoint, you've got a bunch of young fighters. You've got a bunch of young amateur fighters that are getting ready to turn pro. I think it's a great opportunity for them to have an opportunity to fight in Atlantic City in their backyard in these venues.
Well, just like with anything, you know, however something's going to be, it's only going to be that way by the effort that you put into it.
Yes.
And there's certain promoters out there now that are trying to put Atlantic City back on the map. And I think that after a while, everything is going to kick in as planned. Like you said, there are young fighters that are coming up. Thomas Lamana fights.
Lamana fights next week.
Yeah. And his promotional company has been like a steadfast.
Right.
We have like local fighters too, like Anthony Juice Young.
Dallas Holden, another young amateur making his second or third pro fight as well. So
I mean, it brings out people from Atlantic City, but it also, as the fights and as the time goes on, there's going to be other people that are going to come back to Atlantic City who basically kind of gave up. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like I said, they're going to come back because the fight game, like I said, there's no way that boxed is going to die. And at the same time, I would say that I don't think that Atlantic City boxed is going to die.
No, I don't think so either. We mentioned a little bit at the top of the hour when you talked about the Badu Jack and the Gale fight, the unification bout ended in a draw. It was a great fight. Now we learned the WBC looks like they're mandating Jack to take on Caleb Smith, but that's another fight where people think, oh, boxing's boring. No. That was a great fight. I have no problem with the decision. Listen, the ebb and flow, the ebb and flow of that fight. I mean, give me your thoughts on that one as we start to wrap it up.
Well, Jack, me personally, I did give Jack the nod, but at the same time, I think that he wants to move up. Like you just said that the WBC mandated that, but he wants to move up and fight. He wants to fight the light heavyweight champion, and you know. Some people might say that that's one thing that's going to be, you know, maybe stepping in over his head or whatever. But at the same time, whatever plan he chooses, it's good for boxing. And also we have like the Triple G fight that's coming up. I mean, Triple G, middleweight champion of the world, and in a lot of cases, a lot of people looking at Triple G as like he's just a killer to the point.
That is going to be a great fight. That fight to me, him and Daniel Jacobs for the you got a couple belts in that. You got the IBF World Middleweight title. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Jacobs. I love what he's been able to overcome outside the ring. I think he's a technically sound fighter. He goes about his business, and then you start to mention the power of a guy like Triple G. I mean, to me, that is a fight.
Well, it's one of those things of, you know, it's either Triple G has this relationship with the fans where either you love him or you think that he's a fraud. And at the same time, Daniel Jacobs is one person that will bring out, if he is a fraud, Daniel Jacobs is one guy that...
He'll call you out on it.
Yeah.
Jacobs will call you out on it.
No, I'm talking about he'll call you out on it in the ring. He'll call you out on it because he'll make sure that you have to step up to the plate to fight Daniel Jacobs. And I think that Daniel Jacobs know that this is his coming out party. You wanted this fight. And you have to go out there. You can't be like, you know, in other fights where it's like it's just a fight. Well, this is right here. This is the make or break. So you know, and then like you know, we have other fights.
How about Thurman and Garcia?
I was just about to say that.
Let me ask you something. I've said this for years, and I've actually argued with Danny about this because I get it. Come on, some of these fights are handpicked, and we know Al Heyman picks your fights. Okay, get it. Sometimes a boxer could have the gumption and say, this is who I want to fight. He's an enigma when you really think about his career because he was on the brink of stardom we thought of him as a Philly star, and then all of a sudden you look at some of the fights, and I still go back to Herrera fight I thought he lost, and then it's all of a sudden, let me pick and choose. You know, what's your overall sentiment with Danny Garcia?
Well, I think Danny Garcia is like a lot of fighters. What they do is business becomes before our pleasure. And one good thing about Mayweather retiring is it opens the door for these guys have to fight each other, where a lot of those fighters, I truly believe that they were sitting back waiting for the opportunity, waiting for that call for that big money fight with like a Floyd Mayweather at the welterweight division. But at the same time, you have so many people in the welterweight division in which a fight can be made. Thurman and Garcia, I feel like the winner of that fight will probably be the best at the welterweight division. But then again, you have the Khans, you have the Brooks, you have the Spences. Those people.
I don't think anyone wants to touch Earl. I don't think anyone wants to fight Earl Spence right now.
Well, you know what it is? It's one of those things of the reward has to outweigh the
risk has to. Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Like few would, right?
Well, no, it's not even so much. It's not even so much. I wouldn't. What it is in boxing, it's not only with the fighter, but it's also the promoter. It's also the manager. They know that if you get knocked off, then
it's like anything
it's
else,
a rebuilding
right?
process.
We're stone's throw away from even when you start to think about it. You could be that fight who maybe gets on HBO or Showbox the Next Generation. You get knocked out, and guess what? I'm sorry, you're back to club level. I mean, it just happens, right?
Well, but at the same time, like with Kirkland and Miguel Cotto, those are names that they've put on great fights in the past, and because they put on great fights in the past, we will see them again. But some people are saying, well, no, we want to see this new blood, and we don't want to see the old blood. But at the same time, me personally, I'm a person who I feel like I want to see a good fight.
Sure. I mean, we got Frampton, Santa Cruz coming up, so that'll be action-packed. I mean, that's going to be a great fight.
If it's anywhere near the first fight, oh my God, then I think that we're going to say DeGal and DeGal who? I think that fight is going to go in the back burner, because that first fight with Frampton and Santa Cruz was like an incredible fight. I was fortunate enough to have worked Santa Cruz's first fight, and I was the first person to put a championship belt around his waist, and I'm proud of that because the fact of how he's done his career afterwards. Him losing to Frampton, there's no embarrassment in that, and I think that he's still young, and I think that he's still the sky's the limit for him, and I think that when he fights Frampton again. If that fight is anywhere near
fireworks,
the same way it was the first time, it's we are the ones. Sure. You, me, and everyone's viewing is going to be.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, there's other fights as well. That's what I'm saying. So boxing,
exactly, it's not going anywhere.
Dead? No,
it's not going anywhere. As we start to wrap it up, good stuff. We appreciate everyone joining us this evening. Good stuff from Steve Smoger. We appreciate his time. Michael Spinks. Again, Rob Scott, Rich Quinones, John Hines doing a great job here at TriX57.com. Keep it locked in. Great streaming network as well. And, of course, Double Jab powered by the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. You can follow them on Twitter at ACBHOF. You can follow me, Rich Q on Q. I'm going to get Rob on Twitter next week. We're going to work on that, even though he says sometimes he's got to monitor it before you send it. So I'll do all that for you.
Think before putting things out.
I'll do all that for you. Next week, again, we'll be right back here in the saddle from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be a little more interactive on social media. Definitely follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook on the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. As I mentioned, again, the ceremony's coming up 26th and 27th of May at the Claridge. We're going to have a great weekend. We'll give you a little more information when it's made known to us as well. We'll go over the list again next week. We'll start to recap some of the action over the weekend. We'll start to preview stuff. And again, as we start to sign off, keep it locked in to TriX57.com. For Rob Scott, I'm Rich Quinones. Everyone have a good boxing week, and we'll be right back here in the saddle next week, my friend.
Oh, yeah, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, you got it. Good stuff. First edition, a lot more to come. And again, you can always keep us locked in. Follow us on Twitter, ACBA, AC Boxing Hall of Fame, and of course, Rich Q on Q. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, 7-8, right here from the TriX57 studios in Atlantic City, New Jersey.